Welcome, everyone, to Weird World an Update, actually. This is Dean and Carrie with you today. No kids. Screw them. Actually, they're busy. So, Carrie is going to give us an update on one of our most intriguing cases right here in Northern California.
In fact, it was episode 72.
Oh, my God, you looked it up.
Yeah.
I never do that.
Oh,
okay. Well, maybe you didn't.
No, it was episode 72. I think it was, we did it in 2018. That's what I wanted to see. But does that seem right?
I have no idea.
Time-wise?
I don't know. We should take a while to discuss that, meander through that. So there has been an occurrence in the case, an occurrence that seems to us, if you remember that episode, long overdue. Carrie, tell us about that.
Well, let's do a quick recap.
Okay.
On November 2nd, 2016, a man named Keith got home from work in a town called Mountain Gate, California, which is near Redding, very northern California. And surprisingly to him, his wife and children were not home. Little kids, like 2 and 4, something like that, boy and a girl. So he calls the daycare to see when his wife picked up the kids. They told him the kids are still here. Oh my gosh, she usually gets the kids in the afternoon.
Who's she?
The wife.
Okay.
Sherri Papini.
Sherri Papini.
The husband is Keith Papini. So he does what you do. You find my iPhone to look for Sherri's phone. And he sees that it is at the end of their driveway, which is a really long, it's a semi-rural area, really long driveway, like a mile-long driveway or something like that. No, that's too long. I don't know. Really long driveway, like where the mailboxes are. And he goes out there and finds her phone, like in a little clump of grass or something. But it looks like her phone was just set there and like her headphones are wound nicely and set like on top of it. There is some of her strands of blonde hair stuck in the headphones, like they were yanked out or something.
Yeah.
But
so you did that. A kidnapper rips off headphones of someone and then calmly places the...
So the husband finds them, even took a picture, I think, of how he found them.
Little.
Is suspicious, but he reported to the police. It was weird the way they were. You know what I mean? So
you mean this is weird that they're rolled up nice and neatly? Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, he's concerned. It seems weird, obviously.
Yeah.
And so he calls the sheriffs to report her missing. Apparently, he figured she was out jogging because that's what she does as part of her routine. She was training for some sort of 5K or something like that. And her car and purse...
Wait, training for a 5K?
Yeah, jogging.
That's not much further than her driveway. It seems like that's not a onerous...
Well, she had recently had breast augmentation surgery.
Oh,
so she was...
Okay.
Well, you can't immediately start jogging after you have a boob job.
Probably shouldn't.
So she was just ready to start jogging again.
I wouldn't know. I'm all natural, but I can see that.
So he calls the sheriff, reports her missing. They immediately get the FBI involved. And everybody thought this was super fishy from the start. And the Shasta County Sheriff's Department seemed to play it very straight by the book. And we think it was because of the Denise Huskins kidnapping, also a Weird World episode. I don't know.
Yes.
But
that was the kidnapping case where it turned out, which seemed extraordinarily suspicious, a little hinky, and it turned out to actually be a legit kidnapping.
But they immediately accused them, her and her boyfriend, of lying and concocting the whole thing. That was March of 2015.
Okay.
So this is...
So semi-fresh in the heels.
Yep.
Very careful not to say that this is a highly suspicious fake kidnapping, but they thought this was a fake kidnapping.
Well, we don't know if they thought that.
They had to.
The world thought that. We thought that.
But I remember this, and I definitely remember the sheriff and spokespeople coming off as they were being so by the book. You can read between the lines pretty clearly that they're highly suspicious this was a real kidnapping.
So anyway, it's been several years. And on March 3rd, 2022...
Well, I mean, just to finish the recap, though.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, there you go.
She was reported missing. That was November 2nd. November, whatever.
About 3 weeks later, I think.
Yeah, it was about 3 weeks later on Thanksgiving Day.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was like November 24th or something like that. She is found about 150 miles away from where she was taken.
Carrie did air quotes there, by the way.
Yeah, supposedly dropped off at like 4:30 in the
Yeah,
morning.
they just got sick of her and said, you know what? You're not worth the trouble.
Yeah.
I forgot now. Were there ransom demands during the?
No,
there were
nothing.
nothing. Yeah, and she came with this whole story about how some woman
Two Mexican
kidnapped her.
women
Yeah,
kidnapped her at gunpoint.
and then promptly kept her for 3 weeks without making any demands of any sort whatsoever.
They beat her and
That too.
branded her
Yes.
and burned her, cut her signature blonde hair off. That's what her husband kept calling it, her signature hairstyle.
Oh my God.
Which is blonde hair with bangs, basically. And that they just, for some reason, decided to drive her back home. And she didn't know where she was held and all that kind of stuff. And we didn't get a whole lot of details.
Never did.
They never reported a lot of details about her, what happened to her while she was in captivity, except what I just said, burned, branded, beaten, and cut her hair off. She was also significant. She had lost a significant amount of weight, and she's a small person to begin with.
Yeah. And if you did remember the episode, we were all pretty skeptical. In fact, I pretty much flat out said she faked it.
Yes.
I think.
I think we did too. So now we can rest assured we won't be sued for slander, because on March 3rd, Sherri Papini was arrested by the federal authorities for...
The FBI?
I mean, I don't know who does the actual arresting.
I don't know. Marshals, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah. But she was, according to her family, she was, quote unquote, ambushed in front of her children in the afternoon, and they're all very upset. She was in the Sacramento County Jail. In fact, she is still there as we report this. They think she's a flight risk.
She's a huge flight risk.
So they're not. I think she's had one court appearance, and she has another court appearance next week, and I'm sure they'll discuss bail and all that kind of stuff. But charges of mail fraud and lying to a federal agent. Interesting.
Intriguing. What's the basis of the second one? The lying to a federal agent.
To a federal agent?
I mean, have they been explicit that they are saying you faked your kidnapping and in telling federal agents that you were kidnapped, et cetera, that's a federal crime? Okay.
Because they discovered that she was actually staying with a former boyfriend in Southern California.
Intriguing.
While she was supposedly kidnapped, Costa Mesa to be exact.
That's in Orange County, by the way.
Her family says they are confused by several aspects of the counts. Those two very confusing, lying and mail fraud. The mail fraud is because she applied for victim assistance funds, and she got about $30,000 in victims assistance
federal
money.
victim assistance
Yeah.
funds. Now, I have a question for you that you probably don't know the answer to because you're not a lawyer, but if you do that solely over the internet, in other words, mail fraud is, you send application for victim funds and it's over the mail. That's mail fraud. That's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Would you do that if it's purely online? Would they still consider quote unquote mail fraud, or would it have similar laws?
Yeah, I have
Lawyer
no idea.
Carrie? No? Okay. I would think so. Because that's how they federalize a lot of crimes in the past.
Yeah.
And allow the federal authorities, because you notice this is the federal government that stepped in here and finally made this arrest. The Shasta County Sheriff's has not, and could have, and some might argue should have.
I don't know if the victim assistance fund was federal money or not. It wouldn't matter.
I would bet you it was,
because mail fraud.
Yeah,
it wouldn't matter, but
because the mail is federal. So I wonder. I don't know. That's going to have to be lawyers. If you're a lawyer, you know that. Tell us. I don't know how that works.
The family also complained that Sherri and her husband Keith have cooperated with the authorities and investigators all along the way, even when the authorities were attempting to pit them against each other, which I'm sure they were. They were probably trying to get one to admit that
You
I don't
better
know.
fess up because the other one's going to, and you're going to be the one thrown under the bus. Yeah, I'm
Yep.
sure that's fairly common. But
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
that I know it's weird how that works, but when families say that, or when lawyers say that, if it's true, if they are not guilty, they're absolutely right. They're being treated horrifically, right? You know what I mean? Think about that. Like
Yes.
every husband
Yeah.
or wife that's accused of spousal murder, when they don't do it, what a horrible thing to do.
Yes.
In the time of sorrow, you do that. But if they're guilty, it's even more disgusting that they're making those kinds of claims and seeking
Right.
that kind of sympathy when they did this and they're making that play. It's
Yeah.
it's grotesque.
Yeah. But, it's possible that these family members don't know.
Then
That
their heads
she
in the
made the
ground
whole thing up.
purposely. Well,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. You can see what's happening,
Yeah.
Because now we have the evidence from this ex-boyfriend in Costa Mesa
Yeah.
who she stayed with, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So tell us about that.
Yeah. In fact, apparently in August 2020, so a year and a half ago or whatever, probably the FBI, brought her and her husband in to talk to them or her maybe to tell her, we just have some questions for you. We want you to tell us the truth. And then they reminded her that it was a criminal offense to lie to federal investigators, which, I'm sure she indicated she understood that.
Yeah.
And they basically told her that they had evidence that she had been lying about the kidnapping, and she doubled down. She continued
Yeah.
to say, no, she was really kidnapped.
At that
and-
point, though, she's already lied to the federal investigators, so it doesn't matter. She's just committed the same crime again. She knows she has 4 years ago, already done
Or
that.
all along,
Oh,
yeah.
that's what I mean. So she knows
Yes.
she's already done that. When they say now, hey, about what you're about to say, don't deny it because you're lying to us. She knows she's not stupid.
I
She knows she's already
know.
done that. So that's a nice tactic, but she was smart enough to not fall for it. But in doing so, she's continued to commit crimes because now she's lying again to federal investigators about having, not having faked this
Yeah.
kidnapping, which she for sure did.
Well, it's interesting. So here's what happened. Apparently, they found, I guess, in her phone or on her phone, because they had her phone, right? So they probably went through all of the contacts on her phone. And I don't know what they do, but they must call every number in your phone, because they discovered that 2 of the phone numbers on her phone that were stored under women's names actually belonged to 2 different men. And I don't know if you remember back at the time, one man who was investigated was an ex-boyfriend who lived in Michigan,
I don't remember that.
who just coincidentally had to take a work trip to Northern California around the time of her disappearance. There was some communication between the 2. So they thought, oh, he met up with her and he took her back to Michigan. He didn't. It turned out he did come to Northern California, and he left, I think, like the day she disappeared or the day after, something like that. And he had never seen her. So, and they literally flew out to Michigan. Investigators went out there and investigated him and everything and cleared him.
Okay.
She also had an ex-husband who they investigated, because apparently she married him in the early 2000s because she needed health insurance for a heart murmur issue. And so, I don't know, maybe
He
you
just
could-
went along with
maybe That's insurance fraud.
Yeah.
But I guess there's probably a statute of limitations that's
Yeah.
up on that crime she committed. And then when she found another man she liked better. I mean, they never even lived together.
Oh, really?
He was in the military, and he was stationed for some part of
I
their
do remember
marriage
that.
in
You talked
Japan.
about that in the first one.
No, I don't remember
thought
ever
you
knowing
did.
about this.
Oh, okay.
That she had been married before, yes, but not the details.
Okay.
Not that it was basically a sham marriage. So when she found another man she wanted to be with, he said, "Fine, let's get a divorce."
Was that Keith Papini?
No.
Oh,
Oh,
it's
no, I don't know.
Before, okay.
Yeah, I don't know who it was. It didn't say. And so that's interesting. And then when she was found, when she popped back up, when she left, she was wearing jogging clothes, probably a very cute little jogging
Oh,
outfit.
I'm sure it was. Lululemon, I
yeah.
have no doubt.
And when she was found, she was wearing sweats and her original underwear. She said they were the same underwear that she had on when she was abducted. So, of course, they, are going to look for DNA and everything on that. And so from cuttings from her underwear and the sweatpants, they found a DNA mixture of her DNA and an unknown male's DNA. So they take the male DNA and they put it into CODIS, didn't come up with
Back
anything.
in 2018.
16. And then sometime later than that, I think it was like 2019 or something, they took that DNA.
How did she explain that male DNA at the time? I thought it was two women who she said kidnapped her.
It was. I don't know that they asked her.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know.
Okay.
That wasn't in
Oh, they maybe didn't want to tip her off that they found.
Yeah.
But you think they would, though? Ask her, is it anyway
If there was a male?
Yeah, if there's a male there. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Okay.
Well, she said that...
Because she never alleged any kind of assault, correct?
No,
Other than the two women beating her and harassing her. And,
Yes,
And
and
cutting her
branding
hair.
her.
And branding her, yeah.
Yeah, she said she was never sexually assaulted. She did say that they had told her that everybody thought she had just run away and that nobody would believe her and that cops wouldn't help her because a cop was the buyer.
That's so that she was being stolen
Trafficked.
for a traffic,
Yeah.
because that happens to
Yeah.
women of her age. Never.
Yes. She was 32 or 34.
Yeah,
I think 34
not a
at the
thing.
time. So then in 2019, they did the familial DNA kind of testing
the classic GED match thing.
on it. GED match.
GED match? GED match?
And I don't know if they use GEDmatch, but
Okay.
yeah, they put it into some database, probably GEDmatch,
Okay.
and it got tied to a man who had 2 living sons. One of his living sons turns out to be an ex-boyfriend
Of Sherri.
Sherri's.
Okay.
And he lives in Southern California,
Costa
in Costa
Mesa.
Mesa. So it
Here's-
turns out
Here's his address. No, I'm kidding.
he is. Don't know his name.
Okay.
Yeah, it was not listed.
Wait, we still don't know his name right now?
No,
Oh, really?
no.
Okay.
And so apparently he found some stuff of hers from, when they were boyfriend, girlfriend. At one point, they were even engaged.
Were they boyfriend, girlfriend in Southern California or Northern California?
Northern California.
Okay.
He used to live in Northern
Okay.
California. So he found like old pictures and stuff from their relationship, whatever. So he decided to send it to her. So he sent it to her parents' house because he hadn't talked to her. She got married, had kids.
Mm-hmm.
They were done with each other. So he sent it to her parents' house. And so she must have gotten it. So he thought maybe that's why she thought of him and started contacting him again.
Okay.
She told him that her husband beat her and raped her, and she needed his help to get away from him,
Yeah.
that she had reported it to the police and the police weren't doing anything about it. So she gave him all sorts of instructions. I think she sent him money, told him to buy burner cell phones, one for her and one for him, which he did. So first they were, texting,
Yeah.
using her regular phone.
She had him watch Sleeping with the Enemy starring Julia Roberts.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
So she concocted this plan, and
It's what she's gonna flee to Costa Mesa and hunker down with him to escape her brutal
yes.
husband. Okay.
Yep. So he,
According to Costa Mesa guy, ex-boyfriend.
yes,
Okay.
he rented a car, came up and got her. She
okay.
snuck into the back seat and stayed in the back seat for the whole time.
And so they fake ripped her headphone to make it look like she was kidnapped to fool her husband. Is that the idea?
I guess. I mean, they didn't really
okay.
talk about that in anything that I read.
I mean, you have to assume that's the story.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he took her to his house or apartment or whatever. She made him cover up the windows and of the room where she was being held. And he said,
Because the husband's going to go right away to this ex-boyfriend's house in Costa Mesa and case the joint. That's
Yeah.
nonsense.
I don't know, but
That would just attract attention to you if you covered up the windows and that's just
well,
weird.
not if you covered them up from the inside. It'll just look
I
like-
suppose, but
nobody would notice.
why? Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, he said closer to the time when she was going to go back home. I don't think it didn't seem like it was a planned time
Yeah.
frame.
Okay.
But he said, closer to the time when she ended up going back, she started injuring herself.
And he claims he knew nothing of this. He doesn't know why she was injuring herself. Did he? Right? Is that the idea?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I mean, he must not. I mean, So, okay, so
Yeah.
she's under his protection, fleeing, again, this
Yeah.
abusive husband, and he's not doing anything when she starts branding herself and
he had
beating
to-
herself, or no,
He branded her.
Okay, so
He did that. He went and bought
Okay.
a wood burning tool from Hobby Lobby. And
God.
then, yeah,
okay, Gerald, we're gonna call him Gerald.
that was the one thing that he did. He also said that she would tell him to like throw this puck. Maybe it was a hockey player.
Yeah.
Throw this puck at my leg. And he said, he.
Oh my God, if he is an Anaheim Duck, we are going to have quite the update of an update. That's
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
he said that he did. He kind of like tossed it at her leg, but he basically is not into hurting women.
See,
so
what?
he
No,
didn't.
I mean, I have to say it. We don't have to believe that he is this innocent. When someone makes a confession, he clearly was caught dead to rights, right? They found
Oh, yeah.
his DNA on
Yeah.
her underwear. They knew he was involved in this
Mm-hmm.
fake kidnapping. You have two sort of choices here, right? Well, three, actually. You totally deny and hope you can get away with it,
Yeah.
but they have pretty strong evidence. Or you can go you can just absolutely come out with it. Here's the truth, the whole truth, and actual nothing but the truth. Or third, you can admit to just enough to make
Yeah.
it plausible, and then make yourself sound as good as
Not as
possible.
bad,
Which,
yeah.
as veterans of Dateline in 48 Hours, that happens all
Yeah,
the time. Where the
I'm
murderer
sure.
says, "Oh, they fell on my knife," and then I covered it up and had to hide the body and to dismember the person. But originally, they fell on my knife, and I don't want to hurt them. This seems like, for Gerald's case, this is kind of making a best case scenario from something where they know he was involved in this woman's fake kidnapping.
Yeah. He did say that when he started seeing things on TV and when they like devoted an entire 2020
Yeah.
to her, quote unquote kidnapping,
Yeah.
he started to get nervous and he thought, do I make a phone call?
Yeah.
And he said, but then I'm, kind of like turning myself in, it said.
That's true, but you also it is the reason I say I'm so skeptical of Gerald's story is that it doesn't make any sense that she starts saying brand me and making me look beaten. Why
Yeah.
are you doing that? Do you have no reason to do that?
And maybe there was some discussion of it, but I didn't read anything about that. I mean, I'm sure they asked him, but I don't know. He said he just decided if they contact me, if it does get back to me and they contact me, I'll just, I'll tell the truth and take whatever happens to me.
Okay. Well,
It'd
no.
be a lot smarter to you contact them,
Yes, it
obviously.
would.
But nothing I read said anything about this, but I imagine he's getting a deal.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. And when they do those deals, they do sometimes let them, or at least let them tell the story that again makes them look as good as they possibly can.
Yes.
But still admitting they did something because we know they did. Again, we know he was involved, and the police and he knows they know he was involved, and so he, just sort of smooths out the rough edges of his story. I think, which I think is what's happening here.
Yeah.
I think my guess is he was completely complicit in the entire hoax from day one, from minute one, from minute negative, whatever, when they planning it.
The boyfriend?
The boyfriend, absolutely, there's no question. I mean,
Yeah.
I think he was.
don't.
Again, because I'm judging on that determination or that guess because of he's going along with these activities that make no sense under her story, in the circumstances of her story.
Yeah.
And also, it is incredibly convenient you'd rather admit you're stupid than you're criminal, essentially, is what's happening here.
The other thing, I don't know, and nothing said anything about the husband.
The husband, yeah, I know. That's another one. Again, I'm going by memory and from both living through it in the media and from your episode that we did. But he acted highly suspiciously. They were that kind of couple that were seeking fame and fortune.
Yes.
And also there is, to do this, to pull off a fake kidnapping, the most critical component is that you have to have a place for her to stay unseen. That, if she's a fake kidnappee, it makes sense that she's blocking out the windows and stuff like that, right? Because she's going to be famous. She's on 2020, and she can't be seen by even a neighbor looking in the window. It also makes sense from the husband being complicit in this because he's okay. They can't put her in a hotel. there's a paper trail to a hotel, or someone's going to see you, or someone's going to notice after 3 weeks, wow, that woman who checked in 3 weeks ago has not left since. She won't let us come in and clean the bed and things like that. That, especially if it's a hotel in the area. This is a huge story. So getting someone's house to hunker down in makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
You have to have, which means you have to have an accomplice. Unless you have a second address, you have to have an accomplice.
Well, and it's interesting because in one article that I read, the reporter asked whoever did like a press conference or whatever if the husband was implicated also, or if the husband was in on it, and the response was there had been no other charges filed at this time or something like that. Yeah. So just the wording of it or the way they said it made me think.
Unless
because they didn't
one of
say
them,
no.
Unless one of them throws him under the bus, how would they ever? It'd be very difficult to prove that the husband's in on it unless one of the other two, say so. And it could be even a situation where the boyfriend didn't know the husband was complicit. In other words, the husband and wife, Sherri and Keith Papini, are dreaming of this whole idea. Hey, let's get a stooge to stay over there. Tell him you're interested in him, and tell him I beat you. That's possible.
Yeah.
That the boyfriend really is non-complicit in this, and it's the husband. But there's a third possibility that it's all three of them.
Yeah.
And there's even, and again, the first possibility is just Sherri Papini. So it's just Sherri, Sherri and her husband, all three together. Or I guess also Sherri and the boyfriend. There's four.
For me, the most likely is Sherri and her husband.
Yeah.
And the boyfriend didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
They used him. He said that he didn't know where this whole thing was going, but that she thought they might start their relationship back up again. He said, but there was nothing sexual while she was at his house.
See, and then the reason, I don't know, I'm a little more suspicious, I think, than you are about Jerry the boyfriend, Gerald the boyfriend,
that you made up the
fake
name for,
is because of she's doing these extraordinarily odd behaviors. If she was just fleeing a husband, it makes no sense for her to ask for the windows to be darkened or whatever. It makes no sense to beat herself up and brand her. If she's going to if she said something like, "Oh, I'm going to, show this to the authorities and say my husband did these things," you don't need that. And people could see. She was seen by neighbors and friends right before she went missing. So why would she do these things 1 or 2 or 3 weeks later to make herself look like she's been beaten? And if that was true, why would she ever come out and suddenly say the whole fake kidnapping? And the boyfriend knew from the first time she came out and said, "I was kidnapped," the boyfriend knew she was lying. And if he was not complicit, he then immediately knows that she's been lying to him for 3 weeks. Why wouldn't he go to the police right then? Hey, I had nothing to do with this kidnapping hoax, which he knows was a hoax. I'll tell you everything that happened. But he doesn't.
Yeah.
He stays silent until they come and find him. So I think all three were in on it.
Yeah. Well, also, here's the other thing. His mom knew she was there and had a concern about his mom, the boyfriend's mom.
Yeah, Gerald's mom.
And his cousin and his cousin's wife also knew that she was there.
Do we know what they're saying? Are they saying he told us that she was escaping her abusive husband?
I have no idea. There was nothing in the thing about it.
Huh.
So remember I said there were 2 men's numbers in her phone?
Yeah.
Under women's names.
Yeah.
The second man was a different ex-boyfriend that she met at something called Friday Night Live Youth Program, which sounds like a churchy thing. And they dated for a while. He told investigators that she fabricated stories of abuse by her family father and then him after they broke up. So she told people even he abused her during their relationship. Okay. He said she was an attention-hungry person who told stories to get attention.
For sure.
And I guess when investigators talked to her friends, probably from when she was younger, they all said the same thing. She was a wild and crazy young person and that she used to lie a lot to get attention. So all of that, which...
I think I do remember that from your episode, which is one of some of the reasons we thought she was always hoaxing this thing.
Yeah. So... And
it worked. She got a hell of a lot of attention. I don't know if did she ever do like a book and things like that? I'm sure the idea was a book and movie deal.
No, and we always wondered why.
I think
why she didn't do.
My
anything.
guess is that they were at that point. she's like, okay, we go for the book deal, and if we do that, that draws so much attention that we get arrested and go to jail. I think they decided
Maybe,
to drop
yeah.
it. Or
Well-
because I can't imagine there's not a publisher out there that's sleazy enough that they
Yeah.
wouldn't have done a book deal. They don't fact check anymore, but it
Yeah.
could have drawn more attention to their story from law enforcement, and they said it's not worth it. Let's drop the whole book.
Yeah, they did get about $30,000 in the victim's assistance thing. That was to pay for therapy sessions,
Yeah, but
blinds for their house,
I think they're after a lot more than that.
and ambulance services.
Yeah.
Well, they also got around $49,000 in GoFundMe money.
Oh, that's right.
That there are no charges related to that money because I guess, I mean,
That's fraud. There
that's
should
fraud,
be.
I would
fraud
think
is
so.
fraud, whether you're perpetrating it on the government or people.
well, but she didn't ask for that money. So if
It's still fraud.
it,
You don't accept that money. Obviously, she's getting that money only because of the fraud the lies she's alleging.
I know, but that money came in during her absence. So it was
Okay.
Keith and a friend that set up the GoFundMe.
Well, then Keith-
So if Keith isn't
yeah.
in on it,
Which could be why she's
Which-
not going to throw Keith under the bus
Yeah.
now, because then if
Yeah.
then they're both in on it, and then she is guilty of fraud for those $49,000,
Mm-hmm.
so she can add to her jail sentence, which I
Yeah.
hope she gets if she admits that. So she probably is not going to out her husband.
yeah. And I don't know if there's a full accounting of how that money was spent, but they did say that they did list certain amounts that were paid to like personal credit cards and stuff like that. One was like 8,000 something and another was 3,000. And so that money was supposed to pay for the search for her to help, hire private investigators. And some people, professional investigators, did join in on the search and try to help, but I think they did it for free. They just volunteered and, nobody got reimbursed. And remember there was that weird, kidnapping ransom negotiator guy
Oh, yeah,
involved,
yeah.
something
I do.
Gamble.
Yeah.
And, which was weird because there was never any ransom demand.
Yeah, well, I think he was also someone else
Yeah, that
attention
was
seeking.
weird. Didn't read anything about him in any of this, but if you want to read the criminal complaint, you can find it online. There will be all sorts of details about what she told investigators. And one thing was interesting because I don't know if you remember from the earlier episode where there was something online written by her supposedly when she was much younger about how Mexican or Hispanic girls in high school used to
Yeah.
beat her up, and because she was drug-free and white and proud of her country, so
Oh my
it made her look
God.
like a and it talked about skinheads, supporting skinheads and stuff like that. So it made her look like a white supremacist.
Yeah.
But one thing she did see, because then it's interesting, she fabricates two Mexican or Hispanic women
Yeah.
and accuses them of kidnapping her, and then gives all kinds of details like eyebrows and all that. It just very stereotypical. But one detail was that they played annoying Mexican music really loud,
God.
so probably to hide the fact that she was being hidden in the room.
It makes sense.
Yes, but so I mean, she gave all kinds of details, and I'm sure she was questioned many, many times, and so there are discrepancies in what she said. Like, why were you branded? One reason was because she tried to escape, and they were punishing her for the escape. And then the second reason she gave was because she made too much noise. And then a third reason was, I forget what the third
And she was
reason
not a
so-
big Selena fan, from what I understand.
Yeah. So anyway, interesting.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Oh, and by the way, the penalty for the lying to federal investigators is 5 years in prison, $250,000 fine, and the mail fraud, 20 years in
Oof.
prison and a $250,000 fine.
Well, they used to get a lot of mobsters on
Yeah.
that, so it has some very serious penalties
Yeah.
associated with it.
So
That's
could you
interesting.
imagine?
So as of now, which is what is today? March 6th, 2022. Mm-hmm. We're going to upload this as a special Weird World update episode. But as of right now, she has not admitted to anything. We don't know the helper boyfriend's name other than Gerald.
Correct.
And the husband has not
Been charged.
been accused or charged of anything else.
Yep. Yeah. So
Okay.
We'll see what happens.
We will see what happens. Thank
Stay
you.
tuned.
Thank you for the update, Carrie.
You're welcome, Dean.
Intriguing. Listen to our next regular episode. Don't know what it's going to be. I'm sure it'll be something horrific and depressing and evil and violent. No, it won't. We're going to do something.
It might be something nice and uplifting like I have
Okay.
been doing.
Carrie's been doing some more uplifting stuff. We'll try to keep to that. If I do it, probably not.
Yep.
All right. I'll talk to you. Talk to you. Whatever. See ya.